everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock. And today, guys, we've got a lot of Toronto Blue Jays news to get into. George Springer injury update. Teoscar Hernandez returning to the Rogers Center. Did we win or did we lose that trade? And so much more. Let's get straight into it, everybody. Also, big shout out to our sponsor of this video, Betway. You guys are phenomenal. Let's start with Teoscar Hernandez, man. Obviously, there was a lot of broken hearts when Teoscar Hernandez was shipped off. I believe it was around Christmas time when it happened.
Even earlier, I think. It was like earlier. Right when like 2 weeks into the offseason.
You're absolutely right. It was the Dalton Var show that happened at Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah, which was a complete other thing. We'll get into that in a different video. But Teoscar Hernandez, obviously a fan favorite, a clubhouse favorite. So many people loved him, and it was especially great because he smacked home runs. A lot of them. He smacked, not even just home runs, he just smacked in general, dude. So when we lost him, there was this whole conversation that started about, oh my God, Toronto Blue Jays, offensively, we're not going to be nearly as good. Are our guys going to be capable of stepping up? Who's going to be that clean-up role? And now he's returning to the Rogers Center. And I think we're getting to the place where we can start to evaluate the trade as a whole.
A little bit. I do think it's still kind of early, but it's nice to know that he's coming back and we can kind of see, like, what did we get in return? Obviously, we got Erik Swanson. Like, how is he putting up? And then what is Teoscar Hernandez doing? If y'all just follow the Blue Jays and don't really follow, like, the whole MLB, we got to look at what Teoscar Hernandez is doing to see if, like, did this trade make sense for the Blue Jays? Because again, at the time, why did we trade away Teoscar Hernandez? Right? We had a surplus of bats and we needed bullpen help, and Erik Swanson was that guy. Why did the Mariners trade for the Toronto Blue Jays Teoscar Hernandez? They needed some more offensive help, because if you think back to that Mariners series in the wild cards, like that was the big difference. They had slightly better pitching, we had slightly better offense. So we kind of helped each other out in a way. So now let's see, like, are the guys putting up as they should?
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Let's take a look at Teoscar Hernandez, everybody. There are his numbers. So Teo, as we can see, a little bit below average from his career numbers, pretty much across the board, actually. Batting average 244, usually he hits a bit higher than that. The on base to me, definitely a bit lower, 281. That's not where he wants to be. Slugging is still good, though. Slugging is still there. He's still hitting 6 home runs on the year, and that's all accumulated a WAR of 0.8, which, I mean, let's face it, we're 20 games into the season. That's really nothing to scoff at. So this so far is a good, not great start, I would say.
I mean, it's like, again, you're going to have guys coming off of cold starts. Look, George Springer, for example. Like, you're going to go off cold starts. He's giving you good. He's giving you slugging. He's giving you power. And if you look at his Baseball Savant page, these are his 2023 MLB percentile rankings. And these are good to kind of give a test, like a little bit of a test of how he's been doing overall as a hitter, you know, with the eyeball, with the walks, with the Ks, with the barrels. So if you look back at 2022, there's not much of a big difference. I think the only really thing is he's actually a much better defender this year, and he's walking slightly less. But all the, you know, average exit velocity, all the expected batting average, barrels, hard hit, those are still up there. And that's what you're trading for. So from a Seattle Mariners standpoint, I mean, you got the guy who's doing the slugging, and you got him for 1 year. So you got to hope that overall as a team in their offense can, like, all put up and help, like, and support with Teoscar Hernandez. Because right now they're off to a bit of a colder start with their bats. So hopefully he can just keep this going and maybe even get better for them.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I mean, these numbers, right, this is all expected stuff. These are the sabermetrics behind what he's doing on the field. So you have to imagine, because he's only hitting 244 right now, those numbers should level out. He should become even better, you know, considering he is hitting the ball hard like 70+% of the time, right? So that's all good for Seattle, and I would I'd wager to say they probably got what they want. From a Toronto Blue Jays standpoint, what's really nice is that Matt Chapman is being as good as he's being. So I'm not even really noticing the loss of Teoscar Hernandez, because like he has become that middle of the lineup, slugging, power, all of that thing, consistency. So from that standpoint, internally, we just kind of upgraded already, which is something that we needed. But then what we traded for. We got a pretty solid asset here in Erik Swanson.
Yeah, he's really solid, man. I mean, when you look at just the bare numbers, those surface level numbers, the ERA is 1.74. That's exactly what we traded for, because his last season, he was under 2 as well. He had a 168. So just on that alone, you're like, okay, great start through 10 1/3 inning pitch so far.
Yeah.
The whip is below 1. You love to see it. And just on the field and how he's being used in general.
We needed it.
Yeah, absolutely, we need it. Our bullpen's off to a rocky start right now. We're actually much lower than where we ended in last year in bullpen ERA. You know, I think we're in the bottom 10 in the MLB. So you love to see that you can find some reliability with Erik Swanson. Now, the one thing to note, and I just want to give, because if you go look at yourself and you go look at Baseball Savant, you're going to see this and go, you know, we just did the whole percentile rankings comparison with Teoscar Hernandez. You might go look at Swanson and go, his 2022 numbers, you know, they're looking a lot better than his 2023. Now, it's very, very short sample size, guys. 10 innings pitched is nothing. He had almost 70 last year. And I said to Nick before the show, I mean, if you look at his walks, he had 5 walks last year. This year, and last year he had 10. So yeah, he has walked a half of the total of what he did last year, but has it come around to hurt him? Not really.
Not
really,
bro. I mean, you look at the whip, right? Even though the expected numbers aren't necessarily exactly where you want them to be, they're good enough, and the whip is perfection. Just chef's kiss, incredible right now. And you're seeing that reflected in the ERA as well. I mean, I don't expect Erik Swanson to finish with a 1.74 ERA. Please feel free to do so if you wanted to, man. That'd be phenomenal. But either way, I think this is just a great, you know, even though we're a little bit into the season, a great look at what both of these guys are doing so far. And frankly, when I'm looking at the whole picture right now, I'm looking at Seattle, I'm looking at what they got, I'm looking at the Toronto Blue Jays, I'm looking at what they got, I'm looking at how it's affected both of their teams. It feels to me like there's not really a clear winner here. It's like we kind of both won in our own right.
Yeah, we got what we needed, right? And again, I mean, I didn't need to tell you this, but a baseball team is made up of 26 dudes. We swapped 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not going to be the end of the world. Even though in our hearts, Teoscar Hernandez was a huge part of the Toronto Blue Jays, I think it's the most logical swap the Blue Jays have made in an offseason move in quite some time.
Yeah.
Why? Just think about it from a business standpoint. I'm going to introduce this. Teoscar Hernandez, just a reminder, he's on his last year of a deal, right? So you're going to have 1 year of Teoscar Hernandez, right? And as we looked at before, and as you mentioned, Nick, he's got a 0.8 WAR right now, where Erik Swanson has a 0.3. Obviously, significantly a lot less. But we've got Erik Swanson for 3 more years.
Yeah.
So if you add it all up, if you just do some random math of going times 3, he's on par. He's on pace with the short sample size that we've gotten this season. Now, that's obviously nothing to like hold weight to because it's such an early beginning of the year. But that's what the Toronto Blue Jays management is thinking. Like, I want to soak out 3 years of value from Erik Swanson that could equal 1 year of Teoscar Hernandez, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what's going to be really interesting? It's very possible that we might see an AB between Erik Swanson and Teoscar Hernandez. So that will determine everything.
Yes.
It's all on the line, man. A strikeout Blue Jays win, a home run Seattle win. So keep that in mind, guys.
There's got to be a short made on that. That's going to be hilarious.
Literally, it has to be. It has to be. Guys, let's move on to our other news about the Toronto Blue Jays.
Whoa, time for your daily Betway breather. A quick reminder that the best place to bet is on Betway. Must be 19 years of age or older to play. In collaboration with iGaming Ontario, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
George Springer left today's game. He got hit by a pitch. Where was it again?
In the hand.
It was just right in the hand. And that's always scary, you know, because there are so many tiny little bones going on in there. Granted, earlier this week, Espinal got drilled by one by Garrett Cole. Thank God he's okay. And good news, so is George Springer.
Yeah, he's doing fine. The x-rays, they came back negative, so we're all glad about that. He just has a bruise on the hand, but it was a little bit concerning before that x-ray even happened. You know, he was rounding first, and he was like kind of like flexing it a little bit. He was kind of like feeling it out. And then he made a play in the outfield where he made a catch and then braced himself up against the wall. And then throwing back the ball, it was his right hand that got hit. So when he threw back the ball, he winced. So, like, there's obviously some discomfort there, but the good news is, again, it's not broken. So you could see him just rest a little bit. We do have an off day. This video is coming out Thursday, so it would be today.
Yeah.
Before we start that Seattle Mariners series. So maybe it doesn't begin game 1. Maybe comes back Saturday or Sunday. But the good thing overall is that George Springer has been relatively healthy this year. Even though he's been underperforming, I'm glad that we're actually going to see him on the field for once.
Yeah, and frankly, I mean, like, those underperformances, they're never going to get better if you're on and off the IL. You know, you need to have the consistency with the at-bats to get hot, to get into your rhythm. This is obviously, you know, it's a little bit of a setback, but it's not major. He's not going the IL. I think they were just calling it like a hand bruise.
Yeah.
You know, like just something that really hurt. You know, it just really hurt, and it was an owie, and you got to ice it up, bro. But in a few days, you're gonna forget completely about it. So
absolutely,
I'm very thankful about that, man. That is like definitely something the Blue Jays need. They need a healthy George Springer, for crying out loud.
Yeah, and he was starting to swing it like in this last series a little bit, like putting a little bit of power on it.
Yeah,
you know?
for real.
Yeah, I think I have it right here. He's got expected or a max exit velocity of 99th percentile. So like he's been hitting it hard. On average, not so much.
Yeah,
because he struggled off the top. But like you can see that like when he does make contact, it's there. So like we're hoping that he can turn it all around, man.
Yeah, 100%, dude, 100%. Now we got to get to something that is pretty ridiculous. Folks, what do we not have spell check on our phones or on our computers? God, I'm literally talking straight to you.
Yeah.
Because this has to do with Toronto Blue Jays fans as a whole. Everybody, turn your spell checks on now. Because we are dumb, guys. We are dumb.
So right here by Jays Journal, there's a study made on the Reddit pages for the Blue Jays fans. Apparently, in all 30 MLB teams, we make the most spelling errors on Reddit. In a big, if you aren't on Reddit, it's a very big platform where, you know, fan bases come together, discuss the games, talk about things. But apparently, we are the worst spellers of all 30 teams.
This is such a great quote here. They analyzed thousands of comments and posts across 30 subreddits dedicated to the 30 MLB teams. Thousands of comments and posts, guys. What else? I think we spelled some words improperly, right?
Yeah, the ones we couldn't spell right were there, because, reliever, that's a tricky one, awkward, and interest.
Wow.
So, check yourselves, guys. Make sure you guys can spell these words, because apparently we're getting shot
I see the problem. I see the problem here.
What's that?
It's the I before the E.
That's what it is.
We're getting confused because there is one of the very few words that doesn't have the I before the E.
Yeah.
So that's why reliever, and they go hand in hand, because, you know, like we're misspelling there, but then we're thinking to ourselves, oh, but the E is before the I in there. So then maybe I'll put the E before the I in the reliever, but that's not right. It's different. It's a different thing.
And you know what? I could also see interest being spelled, because we pronounce interest.
Right.
We don't really say interest. We say interest.
Yeah.
So I can really see them dropping that E. That
dropping
first E.
the middle E.
Yeah.
Awkward. I'm kind of surprised that's like, a little awkward that we don't spell that properly.
A word, like awkward. Like, I don't know. That's what I'm trying to think.
Guys, comment down below. How are you spelling these things, man? I'll be honest. They show that we are the best at spelling home run and fan base. And I'll out myself right now. I misspell home run all the time.
Me too.
I'm always thinking that that's a one-word, baby. But apparently that's a two-word, and you guys really know about it. You don't know how to spell interest or reliever, but you do know how to spell home run. Dude, so shout out to you guys.
I'll also take the fall there, too. I have to look it up every time. Is home run one word or two words? I forget, man.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So there you have it, guys. We got to turn our spell checks on, and we got to check ourselves with the grammatical sense of just spelling. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking stupid, right?
We're dumb. We're dumb.
I'm literally dumb, right? But that's what it is to be a Toronto Blue Jays faithful, everybody.
Absolutely,
so there you have it.
Absolutely. Guys, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about the stuff that we talked about in this video? Are you satisfied with the Swanson Teoscar swap? And do you think George Springer's going to be okay and turn it around for the rest of the season? You let your thoughts know in the comments down below.
Yeah, also, guys, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And shout out to all of our current Patreon members. You guys are freaking awesome. You can call into the show if you're a Patreon member, and also a YouTube member. Shout out and thank you to all of you guys as well. You're all freaking amazing.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. And go Jays, go!